Hey everybody, welcome to the Hamakua Homestead. If you're new here, my name is Tiffany, and today we are doing yet another kitchen adventure. We are going to be trying our hand at naan bread. I am very new to all breads, and I've never tried naan before. So I found a really cool recipe online, and I will be sure to link that below. Okay, so I think the first step in a lot of breads is to go ahead and feed our yeast. So today we are starting off with half a cup of warm water. You want to make sure it's not too hot because you don't want to kill those living enzymes in the yeast. And so we're going to go ahead and just put our 1 packet of yeast into our warm water and wait for it to foam. In addition to just the yeast, we're going to go ahead and feed it. We are going to feed our yeast with 1 teaspoon of sugar. This is organic white sugar. So we're just going to go ahead and let this sit for what could be up to 5 to 10 minutes. It is going to show us a lot of foam as the yeast is activated, and it's going to just become all nice and bubbly. So let's set this aside. All right, so we have a very foamy yeast, very foamy and very yeasty smelling. So the next step, we're going to go ahead and put our flour onto our countertop surface, and the amount of flour that we need is 2 1/4 cups. That's 2 1/4 cups of flour, and we are to make a well with it so we can put our other ingredients inside the well. We're going to put our yeast mixture in first. Next is half a cup of yogurt. This is plain yogurt, and yes, it does have the live cultures in it. It's not your, Yoplait sugary stuff. Half a teaspoon of salt and 1 tablespoon of oil. I'm using olive oil today. And now we need to go ahead and incorporate everything and knead it for about 10 minutes or so, or until the dough becomes nice and shiny. I think the well in the middle is kind of a little bit of a messy way to do it. Part of what I have been learning in my recent adventures of experimenting with bread making, which is very limited, mind you, is that part of the process of this pulling and pushing is that we are allowing the yeast and the flour to create a bond, strengthening and creating gluten, which I know gluten is practically a swear word nowadays, but that is what this process is creating. It is strengthening the bread so that it will hold its structure. So now we have our wonderful ball of dough. It is nice and smooth and all incorporated. We're going to go ahead and get this into a bowl so it can start rising. I'm just going to go ahead and splash a teeny bit of oil in here. Spread it around a bit. Cover our dough with a light covering of oil so it doesn't dry out while it's rising. We're going to go ahead and cover this up to keep the bugs out, but we don't want to seal it off because the yeast is a living thing and it needs oxygen, so we're leaving little gaps on the sides. Then we're going to go ahead and set this into a warm spot, not a hot spot, but a warm spot, and it's going to rise. It's going to double in size, and that usually should take about an hour, I suppose. Okay, so it has definitely been a little more than an hour, probably about an hour and 20 minutes, and our dough has definitely doubled in size. So now we're gonna go ahead and turn it out onto our surface. Deflated quite a bit just now. And we're gonna divide this into 8 separate pieces. If you had a bench scraper or a, you know, those dough thingies, this would be ideal time to use it. I'm gonna do it like a pie or a pizza. So now I'm gonna go ahead and take each one and roll it out into an 8-inch disc. Now that we have our 8 breads rolled out into not symmetrical circles, by the way, it's a little bit harder than it looks, but I suppose that comes with practice. Now we are going to go ahead and put one onto our preheated cast iron, and it should be a fairly quick process. We're looking for it to puff up and bubble on this side, which it's starting to do, and it should brown on a couple parts on the bottom side, and then we're going to flip it. It might be a little bit overdone. All right, here we are at last. I am going to go ahead and give this naan bread a try. I brushed the outside of both sides of each one with just simple butter. So I'm just gonna rip them apart. It's hot, it's hot. Let's give it a second. Give it a second. And my sweetheart recently started making homemade hummus again, which was what inspired the naan bread. Let me try it plain. It's a very light and doughy at the same time kind of a texture. Some of them puffed up with the bubbles like it said it was supposed to, and a couple of them ended up more like a pancake. I'm assuming that there are a bajillion factors that could have assisted in either one of those. It's very good. I could see how with the Fall Into Sourdough collaboration that we had a couple months ago, that somebody, I can't remember who, made naan bread with sourdough discard. I can definitely imagine that this would be delicious with that little tang from the sourdough. I think I might need to give that one a try. But I do definitely recommend that you guys give this one a try. It is absolutely fantastic. I'm not a big fan of bread in general. This is mostly for my family, but I wanted to at least give it a try to show you guys what it tastes like. So definitely on the can-do list. I hope that you guys decide that you want to give this a try. It was super simple. It didn't take hardly any time at all. Thank you so much for joining me today on the Hamakua Homestead. I'll see you again soon.